Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello everyone, this is me Sarfaraz, education wala, and welcome back to another English speaking practice session. Today's topic: talk with Maya 15 minutes about your goals. Every successful person start with a goal, but many people don't know how to set goals, motivated, keep when life become difficult. So today I'm going to have a conversation with Maya about goals, success, discipline, and the future. Let's begin. Hello Maya.
Hey there, what's up?
Hello Maya. It is great to have you. Have a day.
Right back at you. I'm feeling great today. What's on your mind?
Uh, that's
You've
wonderful.
got a
I think
mysterious.
that's wonderful. I think everyone has dreams, but not everyone know how to turn those dreams into reality. So today I'd like to discuss different aspects of goals setting with you. I'll ask you series of questions. I am looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Let's get started.
I love this direction. Turning a dream into a tangible plan is where the real magic happens. I'm ready when you are. Fire away with your first question.
Okay, so my first question: what does having a goal really mean?
To me, a goal is more than just a wish or a destination. It's like a promise you make to yourself to move in a specific direction. While a dream is the what, the big, shimmering vision of where you want to be, the goal is the how. It's the decision to take that vision and give it a deadline and a set of actions. Does that make sense, or do you see it differently?
Okay, so my second question: why do some people achieve their goals while others give up?
I think it often comes down to the difference between having a target and having a system. People who stick it out usually aren't just relying on willpower. They've built a routine that makes the goal feel inevitable. Others might start with a huge burst of excitement, but when the initial honeymoon phase of a new goal fades and things get boring or difficult, they don't have a system to lean on. It's that gap between the excitement of the start and the grit of the middle where most people drift away.
Okay, very nice. So, is it better to have a one big goal or many small goals?
I'd say it's about finding a balance, but if I had to pick a side, I'm a huge fan of one big vision supported by a dozen small goals. If you have too many big goals at once, you end up spreading yourself so thin that you aren't actually moving toward any of them. But if you only have small goals, you might feel like you're just checking boxes without actually going anywhere. The trick is to have that one North Star that guides you and then use small, manageable goals as the stepping stones to get there. Does that sound like a sustainable approach to you?
Okay, so very nice, Maya. How can students discover their true passion?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I think for students, the biggest hurdle is the pressure to already have it all figured out. Like in reality, passion isn't usually something you just find like a lost set of keys. It's something you build. I'd suggest leaning into curiosity instead. What are the things you find yourself researching for fun? Or the tasks that make you forget to check your phone? Usually the clues are hidden in those small, weird obsessions. Do you feel like you've found any of those clues yet?
Okay, very nice. So, what is the first step to achieving any goals?
The very first step before you even buy a planner or set a deadline is absolute clarity. You have to move from I want to be successful to I want to achieve X by Y date. Vague goals are where dreams go to die because you can't actually track progress against a feeling. Once you define exactly what victory looks like, everything else becomes a logistics problem. Do you think you're more of a big picture person or someone who loves the nitty gritty details?
Okay, very nice, Maya. So, can daily habits change someone's future?
Absolutely. I think they're the only thing that actually does. A single day of hard work doesn't change your life, but 1,000 days of a small, consistent habit creates a completely different version of you. It's like steering a ship by just 1 degree. It doesn't look like much in the moment, but over a long enough journey, you end up in a totally different continent.
Okay, so how important is self-discipline in achieving success?
Hmm. I think it's the bridge between a dream and a result. Motivation is great for getting you to the starting line, but discipline is what keeps you moving when the excitement wears off and it just feels like work. It's essentially the ability to choose what you want most over what you want right now. Without it, you're just at the mercy of your mood.
Okay, so what mistakes should people avoid while chasing their dreams?
One big one is getting obsessed with the outcome and forgetting the process. If you only care about the trophy at the end, the actual work becomes a chore you have to endure. That's when burnout happens. Another trap is comparing your day one to someone else's day 1,000. That's a fast track to feeling defeated before you've even started. I'm curious, do you think social media makes that comparison trap harder to avoid?
Okay, so how does fear stop people from reaching their goals?
I think you're asking if failure stops people from reaching their goals, right? In reality, do you want to try rephrasing that?
Okay, Maya. So my next question, Maya, how can someone stay motivated to after failing?
That is a tough one because failure usually feels like a punch to the gut. I think the first step is realizing that failure isn't a wall, it's just a detour. It's all about how you frame it. Instead of, I failed, try this specific approach didn't work. Which part of the process usually feels the hardest for you when things don't go as planned?
Okay, so what role does the confident plan success?
I think it comes down to that gap, between where you are and where you want to be. When you don't have a clear map or a deep belief that you can actually get there, that's where the doubt creeps in. It's usually a mix of fear and not knowing the next right step. Do you feel like the plan is usually the missing piece, or is it the confidence that's harder to build?
Okay, so my next question, should we compare our progress with others?
Honestly, probably not. Comparing yourself to others is usually a trap because you're comparing your behind the scenes footage with their highlight reel. You only see the version of their progress they want the world to see, not the struggle or the mistakes they made to get there. The only person you should be racing against is the version of yourself from yesterday. Does that make sense? Or do you think there's some value in looking at others for inspiration?
Okay, that's very nice. So how can
I'll
we
be here when
manage? Continue, Maya.
I'm just hanging out. I'm still with you. You were asking how we can manage. Did you want to finish that thought?
Okay, okay. So may I ask you have a point? My question: how can we manage our time more effectively?
Time management is basically the art of deciding what actually matters and letting go of the rest. I'm a big fan of time blocking, where you give every hour a job, but the real secret is knowing when to take a break so you don't burn out. Do you usually feel like you have too much to do, or do you just struggle with where to start?
Okay. So my next question: what skill will be most valuable in the future?
That's a huge question, but if I had to pick one, it's adaptability. The world is changing so fast that the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is more important than any specific technical skill. If you can pivot when the landscape shifts, you'll always be relevant. Do you think you're naturally good at pivoting, or do you prefer having a set plan?
Okay. So how does learning English help people achieving their goals?
It's like unlocking a massive door to the rest of the world. English is the universal language of business, science, and the internet. So it gives you access to information and people that you simply wouldn't have otherwise. It's not just about the words, though, it's about the confidence to navigate different cultures and share your ideas on a global stage. Do you feel like your own goals would open up more if you had more fluency?
Okay, so my next question, can AI help students and professionals reach success?
Absolutely. And the best way to do it is by being a bridge for them, whether it's sharing your own mistakes so they don't have to make them, or just being the person who listens and encourages them. That kind of support is invaluable. Are you thinking about mentoring people or maybe starting something that helps others grow?
Okay, so how important is continuous learning?
It's everything. If you stop learning, you essentially stop growing. And in a world that moves this fast, standing still is the same as falling behind. It keeps you curious and prevents you from getting stuck in your ways. Do you consider yourself a lifelong learner, or do you find it's hard to keep that momentum going?
Okay, very nice. So my next question, what advice would you give to someone who feel lost in life?
First, I'd tell them that it's okay to be lost. Most people are just pretending they have it all figured out. When you feel lost, it's actually a great time to stop and ask yourself what you actually care about, rather than what you've been told you should care about. I'd suggest starting with something tiny, just one thing that sparks a bit of curiosity, and following that thread. Does that sound like a fair approach, or do you think it's too simple?
Okay, so how can people build consistency?
Consistency is way less about willpower and way more about systems. I think the biggest mistake people make is trying to do too much too fast. The real trick is to make the habit so small it's almost impossible to fail. Like if you want to read more, just commit to 1 page a night. Once that feels automatic, you can build on it. Do you think you struggle more with starting the habit or with sticking to it once the initial excitement wears off?
Okay, what is the biggest lesson success teach us?
I think the biggest lesson is that success is a process, not a destination. It's not about that one big win or the trophy at the end. It's about who you become while you're working toward it. The resilience, the discipline, and the way you handle the low points are the parts that actually matter. Do you think success is more about the result or the growth along the way?
Okay, so my next interesting question, how can we balance work, study, and personal life?
That's the $1 million question, right?
Yes.
It's all about boundaries. I think the biggest trap is trying to give 100% to everything at the same time, which just leads to burnout. You have to be okay with some things being good enough so that you have the energy to excel where it really counts. I'm a big believer in strict off times. When you're resting, actually rest and don't let the guilt of not working leak into your downtime. Do you feel like you're currently juggling too many things, or are you trying to set up a system before you get overwhelmed?
Very nice. So, what mindset helps people grow every day?
A growth mindset, without a doubt. It's that belief that your abilities aren't set in stone, but can be developed through effort and curiosity. When you view every challenge as a chance to learn rather than a test of your intelligence, you stop fearing mistakes and start seeing them as data. Do you feel like you're naturally wired to see the glass half full, or do you have to actively work at it?
Okay, so what is your final
I'm
advice
still
for
with
people chasing big dreams?
my final piece of advice would be to just start. Don't wait for the perfect plan or for the fear to completely disappear because it rarely does. Just take the smallest possible step you can today and trust that the path will reveal itself as you move forward. The most successful people aren't the ones who never felt lost or scared. They're just the ones who didn't let those feelings stop them. Does that feel like a good place to wrap up these questions, or is there one more thing on your mind?
Okay, so can everyone become successful if they stay consistent?
I think so, but with one big caveat. Consistency is the engine that gets you there, but you also have to make sure you're driving in the right direction. Being consistently wrong about your approach won't get you to the finish line. So the real magic happens when you combine consistency with the willingness to adjust your course based on what's actually working. Do you think most people give up too early, or do they just keep doing the same thing and expect different results?
Okay, thank you, Maya. This conversation was full of valuable ideas and practical advice. I am sure on viewers have learned something they can apply in their own lives.
I've really enjoyed this. It's been a pleasure thinking through all of these with you. I love the idea of this helping other people too. Do you feel like you've got a good handle on the takeaways you want to share?
Okay, thank you so much. Goodbye, Maya.
Bye for now. It was such a great chat. Take care.
Okay, thank you so much for watching this conversation. If you found this discussion helpful, please like, comment, and share it is with your friends. Subscribe for more English speaking practice, AI conversion, and educational content. Until next time, keep learning, keep improving, and keep working toward your goals. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.